Patrick Berard. I'm the Executive Director of the Quebec Foundation. As well, I'm one of the founders of the JDC Commerce Game.
My name is Pascal Martineau. I'm the manager of the entrepreneurship program at Youth Fusion.
I'm Hilaire Landache. I'm co-founder of EV Innovation, a startup in smart home market.
You're co-founder of Connect and Go wearable technology in the entertainment business.
Well, lovely to meet you all. Thank you so much for having us. So today we're going to show you how to react with React. And just to quickly introduce ourselves, my name is Paulina, this is Yukane and Alim, and we're part of Moody Consulting Group, where we know that retail is changing, it is not dying, and we're here to help retailers navigate through that change. So on today's agenda, we'll walk over a little bit about our business model that we propose, the strategy behind that, how we plan on marketing this, put some numbers behind it, and finally how we go about implementing all of these ideas. So we determined that there are three key success factors that we want to hit. So first, scalability. We want a solution that's scalable to many retailers. Second, an industry that has a lot of profit potential. And finally, something that's sustainable in a way that will not only help our bottom line, but also help the environment. So we started by taking a look at the competition, and we realized that there's a lot of companies that focus on the algorithm part of things, and there's other companies that focus on biometric sensors, but no company has yet put the two things together. And this is where lies a market gap that React can exploit, as Alim will explain a little bit later. So what we propose as a business model is software as a service. Our unique competitive advantage is really the algorithm behind and the platform behind the entire hardware and at the core of the company. So what we would do is actually give the hardware for free and really make our retailers pay on a monthly basis for the insights generated by the software.
All right, so now to go into our strategy, we plan on truly expanding the React strategy through a partnership with a large player in the Montreal retail ecosystem, the Benson School of Retail Management, alongside a plan to target two main customer segments. Firstly, e-commerce startups, those that want to go per se from click to brick and move into an omni-channel physical retail experience. And then on top of this, retail giants, existing companies that want to expand into the omni-channel experience and ensure that they don't go the way of former dinosaurs like Sears. So now let's get into it. Specifically within the Benson School of Retail Management, one essential partner that would really help React grow would be the Retail Innovation Lab. Now, what is it? It's simply put, it's a pop-up shop that's held at the corner of Sherbrooke and Peel that completely leverages analytics and AI to continually improve the retail experience. And the purpose of this lab, it's a lab. You get the chance for different companies to come in for a month or two, explore various emerging technologies, alongside providing data and insights using different industry partners. Now, the benefits for this lab of partnering with React isn't only the fact that it's increasing the value proposition of the lab partners. After all, React is the only food service in the market that provides insights using emotional technology, which increases the value proposition of the lab to its existing partners. On top of this, this allows the lab itself to obtain the end insights from React to be used for further academic research. After all, it's part of a school, and this isn't something that we can continue to forget. Now, on the other hand, what are the benefits for React itself? Not only can React leverage the lab's existing partnerships, it saves them a lot of time. There's no need to go and reach out to hundreds of startups, hundreds of large companies, hope they even give you the time of day, hope they're actually at the right stage of their business process to benefit from React. Instead, the companies that have come to the Innovation Lab are there because they realize that they need technological innovation to move into the physical retail space, and they're interested in solutions such as the software as a service provided by React. On top of this, by being within an academic environment and React being supported by the incubator at ETS, they're used to an academic environment, and as a result, you can continue to innovate and develop your technology within a relatively safe environment. Now, altogether, by leveraging the Retail Innovation Labs partnerships, we can reach both target segments, e-commerce and then the retail giants themselves. So now let's take a look into the e-commerce industry, or what we called click to brick. Now, there's been a large rise in companies moving from being strictly online to brick and mortar stores. And one prime example of this is Montreal's very own Frankenau, which uses AI to deliver subscription boxes. As a result, these concepts are now in pretty much every major city in Canada. And as a result, this segment is not only a high growth segment, But one thing that really prevents some of these e-commerce companies from jumping into the physical store is the fact that they're tech startups. They're using instantaneous data. If they want to see what a customer is looking at, you just look at the records of your website itself, how much time you spend on each page. However, when you're moving into the physical store itself, you don't get this instantaneous data. You don't know what each customer is doing. You can't tell their sentiment by reviews. And this is where React can come in to provide this data, provide these insights that are currently lacking, and help smooth the transition into the physical omni-channel environment. And on top of this, these e-commerce channels are the companies that are the most willing to innovate in this retail industry. Now, looking at the lab itself, we plan on integrating React's technology through providing it within the lab's various products. It creates an ideal omni-channel experience for the click-to-brick companies, and it allows them to put their insights into action almost immediately. They can, for example, implement A/B testing in the real world. Test out something on Monday, see if it works or not, try something new on Tuesday. It's a lab, it's very agile, it's something that can easily be changed using the insights that can be gleaned from technology. And then in the long run, the firms who benefit from these insights in the retail lab have a chance of succeeding and becoming long-term clients. After all, these insights don't just stop with one iteration, one time. Retail changes, people change, companies change. And React can grow with these companies from the lab to the streets of St. Cat's.
So now let's tackle a case study, which is Oldbox, and really see how the strategy translates in practice. So Oldbox is a Montreal-based startup that basically has subscriptions, and then it sells breakfast boxes to its customers. It is actually a current partner of the Bensadoun School, and as well, it is really experientially focused. So with React, what it's going to do is that first it's going to use their Retail Innovation Lab space in order to experiment and find new ways to expand their business model, either in physical retail or even to see how their products would be optimized. And then they will collect data from customers' emotions, and this will not only to be seen as how their products would be improved, but also how they could actually improve their physical layout if they were to expand in terms of a pop-up shop, or just to let customers taste what they have before purchasing. And at the end, it will really affect their retail decisions, and really in terms both physically and also product-wise.
All right, so now the idea of turning the traditional retail experience in omnichannel one isn't exclusively limited to startups. After all, big brands, as you can see, like Lululemon and Amazon are doing the same across the world. As a result, there's another opportunity for React to target another customer segment, namely the retail giants. Now, these giants are worth targeting because not only are they investing billions of dollars specifically in analytics and technology such as AI, but they're continuing to desiring to increase the amount of data that they're acquiring. And on top of this, there's a large amount of potential for React itself. For example, a company like Aldo has 3,000 stores in operation, not just in Canada, but across the world, and that's only one potential partner. Now, looking at the actual integration of these retail giants with the partnership with the Retail Innovation Lab, it's leveraging the existing partnerships that the Bensadoun School has already created. For example, they were funded mainly by Aldo Bensadoun, so there's a strong partnership with the firm. And as a result, being able to reach out with the branding of the Bensadoun School behind React adds legitimacy, it adds a stronger chance of these companies being willing to work with React itself. On top of this, by working with the Bensadoun School, these companies are willing and desire to innovate, and they lead to multiple use cases for the various products that React creates. And as a result, because retail is always changing, again, so do the insights provided by React. These are long-term revenue streams, not just something that's one and done.
So now let's look at a case study for retail giants, which is Aldo. The process is almost similar to how it would work for e-commerce. However, there's really an emphasis on really optimizing the in-store experience, the physical store layout. So we're going to talk more about how we're going to go about that and implementing a new pilot project in the Eaton Center. So why we choose that location is that the downtown location has really a lot of foot traffic, and as well the store is smaller, so it's more flexible in terms of how they would try and experiment with the store layouts. And then finally, the location is very close to the existing React locations, which is the Retail Innovation Lab as well as ATS. So now let's talk about the marketing plan. So in the short term, which is from month 1 to 6, we're really going to leverage what Bensadoun School has already, which is its network, its current partners, as well as its marketing strategies that it has in terms of participating in events, as well as conferences. But in the long term, we really want React to expand its marketing strategies and really go out there itself and really promote its brand and its identity. And that will mainly come in forms of conferences, events, as well as sponsorships, trade shows, and many more. So now let's talk about implementation. So for the timeline, we're going to tackle each of our strategies. So the first one is the Retail Innovation Lab within the Vincent School. So we're going to start off with negotiations in terms of getting that first partnership with the Vincent School, and then ongoingly it will be conjoint marketing for both sides, as well as the exchange of insights and partnership deals. For the second one, it will be to start pop-ups. However, the lab is in construction for the first month, so after that time, we will start working with the first pop-up client and then start with the second one. And then finally, to work with the retail giants, which is really go out of the lab and go into real life context of having client acquisition and negotiations for the first 5 months, and then finally going to roll out expanding.
So let's talk a little bit about financials. So we've been allocated a budget of roughly $8,500 in order to launch this. And we've managed to come up with a plan to get you to $920,000 in present value of profit in 5 years. And we believe that if you acquire an e-commerce startup and a big retail giant, you'll have a long lifetime value of these two customers together of $585,000 over 5 years. And we realized that you can break even with each client in 9 months only. So let's go over the numbers. So looking at the 6-month revenue breakdown, the way we thought about this is acquiring a small e-com startup like Oathbox, start partnering up with them at month 3. They already work with their retail school, so it's going to be very easy to integrate React's service with them. And finally, for enterprise, we believe that since those contracts are longer to negotiate, we can start at around month 5 and 6. And we also assume that we'll have a subscription fee of roughly $30,000 for e-commerce businesses and $100,000 for enterprises per year. So while this may seem like a big number, there's similar data analytics platforms that charge enterprise clients $100,000, so it's very feasible. In terms of the 5-year revenue breakdown, so in the longer term, we believe that every year you can gain 1 more e-commerce partnership and 1 more enterprise partnership. If you want to do more, feel free, but this is more of a conservative analysis. And using those assumptions of $100,000 and $30,000, you'll be able to gain a roughly present value of revenue of roughly $1.2 million over 5 years. Now, in terms of the actual profit breakdown, so we believe that in terms of cost, you'll have 2 main ones. So first, legal is just a question of closing contracts with both e-commerce startups and retail schools. We also believe that you should have a budget allocated of roughly $25,000 to trade shows and just sponsoring certain events to get the word out there. And also, towards year 4 and 5, we'll be able to grow to a point where you can hire a business development person. In terms of hardware manufacturing costs, so we assume that the hardware costs roughly $500 a piece to manufacture, and that your enterprise clients will roughly we will give away 75 of them on average. We'll give roughly 75 of them on average, and for e-commerce 20. So this is where the $47,500 comes from. And we believe in not having our customers pay for this because they're already paying $100,000 a year, and you're going to break even in roughly 8 to 9 months anyway. So it just provides for better service. And we believe that the net present value of this project would be $912,000. So in terms of key takeaways, so what we believe is that you should be targeting 2 customer segments, so e-commerce startup and retail giants, marketing mainly by leveraging the Ben Sadoun Retail Labs resources, and this will lead to a 5-year profit of $920,000. Thank you for listening to our presentation, and we open the floor to questions.
Thank you for the presentation. One of my question is, how did you process to decide to go on retail? Like when you start all of this, did you say, okay, I'm going to visit the website, let's go on retail, or you said, I'm going to explore a different market, and so tell me why retail?
So it's going back to our 3 initial success factors. We realize that in terms of scalability, it's very easy for retail. The concept is the same across the world. If we use video games, it's still somewhat scalable, but it doesn't hit the other sustainability point. Also, in terms of profit, it's very easy for retail to scale, especially when you partner up with an aggregator like the retail innovation lab. So because it's easier to get profit there, we decided that's a better idea. Also, there's a sustainability component. So we know that, for example, if you go into video games, it won't really help the planet in any way. But for retail, there's an actual potential of not producing things that are wasteful and really optimizing for what people will buy and experience.
Thank you.
Do you plan to get the startup first and move to big players, or you can get both of them at the same time?
All right, so currently we plan that the first partnership in action would be with the startup, simply because of the fact that simply negotiating with the big player takes a while trying to decide the various intricacies, and then also having to work with a startup, it coincides well with the introduction of this retail innovation lab in the beginning of February. So it works well that from the beginning of this lab, React's technologies are included, and as a result, future users of this space are willing and able to use React's technology.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.